Hey guys, Fozzie here, and welcome to another edition of Fozzie at Home. Well, as Oscar season coming up, I'm really extremely upset because one of like the best actors who did a good performance in a movie, he wasn't even nominated. Now, I understand they only got so many spots to fill, but I think this is a bunch of total bullshit he wasn't nominated. That actor is Eddie Murphy in Mr. George. I mean, why did this movie receive such negative reviews? Let's start off by going by Eddie's performance. Eddie was awesome in this movie as like a cook turned friend turned like uncle figure to this woman named Charlie and her terminally ill mom. It is really such a touching movie, and Eddie's performance is so good, and I forgot seriously I was even watching a comic at all in this. His performance also in here was, I only saw because they said it was Oscar worthy, and yet his performance just got totally unnoticed. I mean, why? I mean, I am really pissed off right now. And who is probably gonna get it? I bet you it's that Casey Affleck who's gonna win it. If anybody else wins other than Casey Affleck, I'll at least be glad because of their performance. But if Eddie Murphy's not even nominated and Casey Affleck wins, I am gonna be effing pissed off. I mean, it's like people always complain that about how unfunny Eddie Murphy's movies are. Then when he finally does another movie, nobody sees it and it flops. This isn't fair. I want to get Eddie that Oscar he deserves. I also really like. Eddie plays this guy who really starts out just kind of like the hell, but as it grows on, you really see his sensitive side. You really end up seeing what a nice man he is, and like Charlie and Mr. George, he's discovered how they need one another towards the end of her mom's life. Won't spoil too much about the movie, but it's totally worth seeing. I really think that he deserved at least an Oscar nomination at the very least. They nominated Life of all things, and this movie doesn't even get a nomination. I mean, what is it with the Oscars and people with Eddie? I recently did see The Danish Girl again, and Eddie Redmayne did actually do a better job than I posted in my previous video. In fact, he deserved a nomination, but I don't know, still though that doesn't change the fact that this Eddie we're talking about is not gonna be nominated. I am sore at this. I won't be too sore to the Oscars this time. I think the Oscars, is at least has nominated some good people. Casey Affleck, I think, does do a good job. But I don't want him to win. Anybody but him winning will be good. So, that is my review. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Arrivederci. One of my favorite actors of all time is Denzel Washington. And back in the 1990s, he made a movie where he played an angel named Dudley, right? The movie ended up inspiring a lot of hope. A movie first starts off with Henry Biggs, the pastor, and the father of Cole ends up becoming becoming real depressed because of the cuts that are gonna go down in his church. That's when the meantime Dudley comes down and ends up saying about how, you know, he's there to change the life for the better, and through it all Dudley manages to change everything. There's just one problem. Dudley ends up really falling in love with Henry's wife, played by the late, great Whitney Houston. This is definitely a good movie, and give it a watch.